Let's use the microphone, thank you.
Alvin Miguel from Caribbean Stars Soca Review. How will you assess the performance of your team with all the different scenarios that played within the game?
Yeah, we felt that coming into the game was always going to be a tough ask in terms of what we know that Haiti was going to provide in terms of the physicality, the strengths in wide areas. I think first half wasn't really at the races. The players have really find it difficult to get going. We couldn't get a foothold into the game, and so to speak. And I have to give Haiti a lot of credit in terms of how they played first half. But we know once they had the man sent up, the advantage was slightly in our favor, although they seem to still have a foothold in the game, and to concede like we did at, certainly in the pretty much, I'm not sure what minute it was in the first half. So that really sort of knocked us back a little bit. But at the end of the day, we are still in with a shout, and so we are very grateful for that as well.
Next question.
Hey Coach, Maurice Igor from Vice Soccer. Just early goal on the second half, then you guys tied the matchup. Just what was your message to the team at halftime?
Well, we know going into the second half we had the advantage, so we needed to play a little bit more aggressively in terms of our attacking play and take responsibility and have a little bit of courage in how we play. I felt it was a little bit naive going forward. As I said, I give a lot of credit to Haiti in the first half. They really pushed us back to our goal, and we couldn't really sort of deal with the long ball. That was causing us a lot of problem. But once they got the man sent off, we felt like the advantages is swing in our favor. But then of course the concede is kind of knock you back a little bit. But I thought the reaction from my players towards the end, once we made the substitution with the captain of Molino and introduction of Real Gills and those guys, really turned the game on its head for us in many respects. And as I said, even though we were a little bit fortunate with the penalty miss against us, we felt that we'd done enough to get at least a point from the game. It would have been a little bit harsh on our point if we hadn't come away with something, especially with the advantage in our favor in the second half.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Peter Warren, Houston Chronicle. You mentioned the substitutes there. What did they provide that you weren't getting before they came on?
Well, as I said, a little bit more creativity and really, forward thinking. I think sometimes we're a little bit naive. We work on a lot of, systems and playing, but ultimately the players have to go out and really play in a fashion that we know that they're capable of playing. We always encourage to play on the front foot. We always try to get players to be creative going forward. I felt like in the first half, it wasn't creative enough. People wasn't taking on the responsibility, like they were afraid in many respects to make mistakes. And I tried to get my players away from that mentality to be on the front foot, to play in a positive way, to push teamwork towards their goal. But what we done, obviously, with the man advantage in our favor, you've seen a lot of players showing, a lot of players wants to get on the ball, and that's what we need from the very beginning, not when we sort of have the advantage in our way. But I have to defend my players in many respects because they are still in the learning process. I still think, I'm relatively new into the job. I'm not making an excuse for my players, but we have to grow up very quickly. We have to be a lot more physical. We got to be a little bit more demand. When you're playing at this level, it's a lot of physicality as well as a lot of, energy that you play. And so we need to bring that to the game a little bit more. I think we become a team who relatively easy to play against because we are, a footballing sort of team, but there is a physicality side of it that we need to be a little bit more aggressive, and that's something that we certainly talked about, and we're going to have to improve on that if we have a chance to take this, to advance out of this competition.
Yeah. Next question for Coach. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi Coach, this is Rothman with Concacaf. Despite being a man down, it seemed that only Spicer was the only aggressive attacker. Is that an issue you noticed, or maybe he just was the only one that felt confident enough? And even a man down, you guys almost conceded a penalty. Is that something you need to talk with the team? Is it an organization issue?
Yeah, well listen, we are still in the learning process. It's not something that these players are used to, the demands of the game. Spicer, when you look at his record, he's not played back-to-back games like he had been playing. So that's something new for him and the demands of it. So, you know, he's a terrific player. We can see that when he's really positive and play on the front foot, you see the creativity he can become. He can cause a lot of problems to defenders. I think that belief needs to be a little bit more installed in him in many respects, because he's a threat. He's a defender's nightmare, and I just think that he needs. I think those type of players need to affect the game throughout, and not in spells and moments. So you have a 5-minute spell, then he may go missing for a 15 or a 20-minute spell. I think, you know, the learning curve, as any top player is being impact in the game. Yes, manage the game. There might be a moment where it's gone a little bit quiet, but for someone of his ability and quality and what we rely on down the left side, he should be impacting the game a lot more, in my opinion. And that's just down to a little bit more confident, a little bit more belief in his ability, because he's certainly a threat when he's in full flow.
All right, we switch to the virtual forum now. Caleb Pierre, go ahead with your question.
Yes. Hi, Coach. I'm Caleb Pierre from Haiti Temple. I have a question for you. After tonight's result, it looked like Trinidad won't qualify for the next round of the Cup, but there are World Cup qualifiers in September. So I know you played for your country in 2006 as a player. So now as a coach, what's your goal for the next few months? Thank you.
Okay, well, we are still in the Gold Cup competition here, and we got a big game against Saudi Arabia, all pending on the results tonight between America and Saudi. So I think that game is just started, so we'll be looking at that very carefully. We're hoping result go in our favor, so then probably going into the last game, we still have an outside chance of advancing to the next round, providing result go for us. So that's the first thing, and that's where our concentration is on. We know what's ahead of us in terms of the World Cup qualifiers in September. We have a lot of work to do between that time, but this is a competition that we are trying to get out of the group, and certainly with the result tonight, not really ideal for us, but what it does, it gives us an opportunity to try and advance, again, pending on results between Saudi and America tonight. So we'll be watching that game closely. As I said, we look forward to the World Cup campaign. We know that what group we're in, and the team that we are coming up against, and we'll be preparing for that when that moment comes around. But for right now, as we speak, as we are right now, we are looking to just maintain and trying to advance out of this group.